Hi, the Brisbane Broncos are 15-9 and finished the regular season 4th on the ladder after beating the Storm 30-14, and there's no better way to finish the season than winning wire to wire against the Storm at home to make sure you get at least 2 weeks of finals. That's the best game they played all season, and unlike their other big wins this year where they've had big comebacks or blown teams off the park early, this was a win built on defense and something we've not seen from this team: patience in attack. It's a win that not only makes my entire weekend, but takes them into that first week of finals with plenty of confidence because they actually did it. They played with ticker for a full 80 minutes. And let's start with the big item. In a 30-point performance, Reece Walsh was directly responsible for 26 of those points. He scored 22 on his own and had the assist to Piakura for the other 4. And at this point, I think he's been back 11 games since the PCL injury, the Broncos winning 9 of those and me glazing Walsh after all of them. I don't know if there's anything more I can say, and I think I just need to hand it over to the greatest point guard of all time to speak to whichever Walsh doubters remain.
What are they going to say now? What are they going to say now?
Thank you, Stefan, for taking the time. Here's another number, 18, which is the number of consecutive tackles the Broncos withstood on their line at the end of the first half, 6 of those coming after Dean Mariner was sent off for not heeding the warning Grant Atkins gave the Storm, and where Nelson Asofa-Solomona had 3 attempts at the line and did not cross. That's the big defensive set, the entire crowd behind them going as nuts as they were all game, scrambling the whole time, restart after restart, and they held strong a man down and stopped Xavier Coates from scoring after he'd taken a kick. What a game on Thursday night, and the past few weeks since the team hit rock bottom in the middle of their upward swing, I've been pushing this hero's journey narrative. Along the way, the team has had to overcome the enemies of the season, which is that 2 quick tries could sink them, or they would start hot, turn the car off and throw the keys out of the window, or they would let teams walk up the park with penalties and set restarts and shoot themselves in the foot. And once they could cast off those former self-shaped demons, they would find beneath them the perfect game. And they did! And what started as a joke about when you can't analyze, you narrativize, is now turning into complete 100% belief that the Broncos are returning with the elixir. They can win the competition in 2025. Returning to this game, there wasn't much doubt that the Broncos were taking it seriously, and they made it pretty obvious early. The small thing I noticed early was on the Storm's first attacking set when Ricky had given away a penalty for grabbing the leg and going for a spin. The Storm play the short side to Anderson, and he's tackled principally by Walsh and Staggs, with Hunt coming to stop the offload. Before the tackle's complete, Hunt is in Walsh's ear and pushes him away as he's getting up to make sure that he's in the line properly and able to compete on the next play, and the Storm go wide and Liero spills it. Walsh is in the vicinity, but it doesn't really matter, but it's the veteran leader, who it seems everyone listens to, literally pushing the star player around, and there's no objections to it. It's just getting results. Of course, there's the big ticker play later when Walsh takes Coates out of bounds and Hunt goes absolutely wild celebrating the play with him. Walsh has put shots on guys now and again, but that tackle was a little different. Like, the defense is catching up to the attack. He's not such a glass cannon. Also, there was a bit of talk about Walsh cutting his hair again like 2023. Hunt's got his hair like 2015. Broncos get a chance at the Storm line their next set, and with thanks to some poor discipline from the Storm, they have third tackle outside the Storm 10 after Walsh burns a play dumping off to Haas, and Carrigan is telling him to get out wide immediately, and Haas is giving the backliner what was that? They're furious, burning a play 7 minutes in when they're in attacking territory. That set ends with a neat little kick in goal by Walsh and more Broncos in the in goal than Storm players. Ricky, Carrigan, Jensen, Walters and Walsh storming the in goal, and Walsh eventually makes the tackle on Munster. The boys are absolutely on. Brisfest has started, baby. In this game, they were very intentional. They didn't go for it on second or third tackle. They were very strong up the middle, took the 2 points whenever it was on offer, ran directly at Cameron Munster and Jerome Hughes whenever possible. By halftime, Munster had made 11 tackles and missed 2. By full time, he'd made 28 and missed 6. The tackle was not getting called for a professional foul when you are 100% intentionally taking out either Storm winger when they kick to them. But the Oscar goes to Katoni Staggs for his performance in 1969's Midnight Cowboy, which played every time Melbourne kicked for Xavier Coates. And it's okay for the Broncos to do it because the Storm are the original cheats and everyone knows it. Who comes to equity must come to the court with clean hands, and Melbourne don't. Bellamy is the king cheat, and all his players are cheats too, except when they play for Queensland. So hey, go and get your shine box, Papenhausen. Sake, there's no balls in it, you fool! That's good new tech. Next Broncos home game, I better see the ball boys dumping every single ball out of those buckets on the away team try line. Papenhausen was also a target of a campaign of hit him as hard as you can whenever he touches the ball, which unfortunately went a touch wrong at the end there with the HIA, but it's hard to legally tackle a guy who falls into contact all the time. Hunt forced an error on him early, which led to the Broncos' first try, and what a pleasure it must be to watch Payne Haas open up gaps to run through. The Storm's line is still recovering from the error, and there's mismatches everywhere. Katoa wants to rush out, but ends up leaving Hughes basically one-on-one with Haas, and Reece Walsh is in a kind of form where, of course, it comes off his knee. If you tell me that he meant it, I believe you. And as they're setting up this play, the Broncos have got 6-on-4 on that edge, and Billy Slater is bemoaning the Broncos' wasted opportunity. They just blew their best chance at points, he says, a sentence he completes as Haas breaks the line. And I'll let the replay go long so I can say, eat it, Bill. I'm a 9 traditionalist from force of habit, and I love listening to Billy and Cameron Smith do this professionalism dance when they commentate Storm games together. When the game started looking over for the Storm, Billy asked Cam, what would you do if you were playing in this game, Smithy? And Cam goes and says something generic that I can't remember, and not his real answer of, well, I'd probably pass the ball to my fullback, Billy Slater, and not my enemy, Cooper Cronk. Following the try, the Storm walked up the field twice, first after Carrigan was called for putting his hands in the ruck, which didn't happen, but somehow Carrigan has his reputation as a rule breaker because how else do you explain the non-existent leash on calls made against him? Then a call on Payne Haas for playing football, which papered over another Dustin Hoffman performance from Katoni. But the call that was made is the one I'm unhappy about, and it leads to the Storm's first try. All the Storm's tries in this game were made on that right edge, even though I feel like that side stood up really well defensively. For the first try, the only other thing they could have done was catch the ball, which against Warbrick isn't a likely option. The bounce goes the wrong way, you take that. The second try, Karapani slips while trying to make the cover option. It's not ideal, but you take that. And the third, Jaden Hunt buys the entire stock of the Tyrone Wishart store and puts first dibs on the next supply of dummies coming in. The defense definitely took a step down when Hunt came on for Piakura in the 55th minute. In all, you can see 3 tries to the Storm, and one of them doesn't really matter. You take it, dead cat bounce. I love watching Karapani's defense because when he's locked in on his man, he's almost completely sideways and using the sideline as the extra defender. He's just ready to take guys out of bounds. He's about to do it to Warbrick before his second try and trips, blocking Welsh's potential cover tackle. If anything, the Broncos are done in by over-defending. Do Canberra ice their corners? Piakura and Walters held up that edge defensively, even if the numbers don't say it. He had only 16 tackles, except he hit so hard they all count for 3, with 2 missed. Then Walters 20 tackles with 5 missed, but they were running Eli Katoa directly at him, and he stood up to the challenge. 5 missed tackles is a pass mark if Eli doesn't score, and he didn't, so A+. Probably something lost about Billy spending so much time at 9. He looks massive at 6, and this is an example of why rugby league stats don't always match performance. Billy finishes with 60 metres, 0 kick metres, 5 missed tackles, a try assist. It's probably his second best game of the season after the Bulldogs game, which he basically won for them. And I will be making a formal apology to Mr. Walters during the week. This might sound insane, especially coming from me, but with Reynolds likely to play next week, Billy has to stay at 6. It's working too well. Meanwhile, if other teams would please stop hitting Brendan Piakura in the head, that would be appreciated because I'm such a fan of his. I went back on the footage of his try to see why he was on the wing, and you'll never guess how this came about. That's right, it was Reece Walsh who sent the ball all the way left to Karapani on 4th tackle, and you can see as Karapani's being tackled, all but 2 other members of the team are set up on the right on 5th tackle in the last minute of the half. Walsh gives BP the signal, and when you think that Reece Walsh can't go left again, he goes left again, and Pia goes over untouched. Fortunately, none of the wide angles show what Piakura did after this jolt, so we'll stick to the 4 points worth of credit. Then, of course, the third try is all Walsh. He kicks the 40-20 to get them down there and scores the next set. Producer credit to Ricky for the decoy, gravity assist to Haas and Staggs, and an actual try assist for Ben Hunt. But what else can you do? That's the knockout punch. There's 4 options to score here. Which one of the Storm defending the worst? And how can a seemingly innocuous celebration also be so disgusting? I've already dismissed the Meany try as not counting, but actually the Karapani one does. This try was for the people. That crowd was brought all the way in and wanted one more opportunity to go as nuts as they'd been for the previous 79 minutes. They were calling for the final defensive stand and got one better. Billy gets the intercept, looks up and decides, nah, that's actually way too far, so sends Karapani the rest of the way. It's a good chase by Warbrick, but Karapani's quick enough and remembers the work of Isaac Newton to get down before Warbrick can make an attempt. And it blows the lid off the place and really kicks in this Broncos mania that swept through the city the last couple of days. Everyone's coming out of the woodwork now that it's finals time and they're welcome. Just don't buy tickets to the home final until I've got mine. Just a great game, and I feel like I haven't praised any of the players enough, not just the big names. I mean, how good has Corey Jensen been since he came back from injury? Great, straight, solid runs every time he has the ball. Hetherington made 1 more tackle than Haas in only 36 minutes. He's been everywhere on defense, and on attack, he just keeps making those little half breaks that keep everything moving. Ben Tolte, I think I'd hug him if I saw him in public. He's just incredible. Carrigan, if you're not seeing everything positive that he's doing, keep it a secret in case there's a finals team that hasn't picked up on it yet. I am just all the way in on this team now. Just do it 3 more times. That's all. Ticket Gutless Index, nobody's going home gutless. And best on ground, here it is for this game, but it's actually time to award the regular season best on ground to Payne Haas for an absolutely indomitable year. He's not had so much as an okay game all season. He basically had this award sewn up by Origin 2, but a late push by Walsh made it interesting. He's remaining the best player in the world, which is great news because the fullback is now the form player of the competition. I will be sending Payne a message which he leaves on red, congratulating him for his win, and as kindly suggested in the comments, resetting the count for finals MVP. So, thank you for watching, thank you for your patience. I was delayed from drinking too much toilet water, or maybe the 2 p.m. special deal chicken curry that had been left out for who knows long. I'm just so excited to talk finals next week. Alright, happy Father's Day. I'm off to play 9 holes and positively lose my mind by the 3rd before hitting 1 good shot on 7, which takes me through until I play again in 6 months. But it's my day and I'm choosing to spend it sweaty and angry. Bye.